Okay, so for today's lesson, it is a writing lesson, and I'm going to show you another way to write an interesting beginning to your composition. And the interesting beginnings that I'm going to show you are based on a composition that is themed an unforgettable incident on the MRT. Okay, so the way that this composition begins relates to the MRT, so let's take a look. Okay, but when you begin in this way, what do you begin with? You begin with an something blank fact. Okay, I'm going to read this excerpt to you. Blank, I take the train. I will always think of an blank that I learned, which taught me a value care. Some people think they know what this word really means, or just think that this value is not important. However, I know what this word means and how important it is. This is the story of how I learned the meaning and importance of this word. Okay, so have you figured out what are these three missing blanks? What do you begin with? What kind of fact will hook your will hook your reader's attention? It's an interesting fact. Okay, so what do you think these two words are? Blank, I take the train, I will always think of, I will always be reminded of. You're correct. It is the two words every time. Okay, and what are these two words? Something that you learned, and it's about a value care. That's right. It's an invaluable lesson. Take note of the spelling. Okay. So you realize that this particular paragraph begins with every time I take the train, I will always think of an invaluable lesson which taught me a value, care. And then the author goes on to talk about why this value is important. And from there, when this paragraph ends off with, this is the story of how I learned the meaning and importance of this word, it grabs your attention and it wants to make you read on to find out more about what the composition will be about. Okay, I'm going to show you a second way of writing this composition. Begin with an interesting fact, but I feel that this method is a little bit more difficult. But anyway, let's take a look. Okay, every time I board the train, I find myself in silent contemplation. This means a time spent thinking silently. Okay, it is during such moments of solitude. Solitude means being alone. Okay, that I reflect on important events in my life, especially ones that often left an indelible mark on me. Okay, so indelible mark means like a great impact that you keep remembering and you are very affected by it. One such morning led me to recall a memory that I would always be particularly fond of, as it taught me to put others before myself. Again, this is also another interesting fact. I personally find this second way a little bit more difficult because the vocabulary used, such as silent contemplation and indelible mark, is a little bit more difficult for you to remember. So, my personal favorite is this version. Okay, and don't worry, you just need to memorize most of this paragraph, and I'm going to show you how you can use this in your composition. Are you ready? So,